o'clock. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. Roll call.
Cosio,
Here.
Stricker, Smith,
Here.
Sauger, Radcliffe,
Here.
Tracy,
Here.
Leone.
Here. All right. Everyone get a chance to look at the minutes? All right. Any questions, comments, concerns about them? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Oh, anybody opposed? Doesn't look like we have anybody here for public comments unless Pete wants to say something.
No, sir.
All right, new business. Well, as you all know, we have a new executive director through MCEDC, Mark Piekos.
That's right.
All right, Mark, why don't you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. I have been with the MCEDC since June 1st, basically. Prior to that, I had been with the at McHenry County College with the Small Business Development Center. So this transition is a logical one. It's been a pleasure to get familiarized with sort of the toolbox that MCEDC has at its disposal in terms of economic development, and Enterprise Zone has definitely been a big factor, and I look forward to using it in the future as an attraction tool. So I want to formally thank the board from my position for the opportunity to provide administrative support to the Enterprise Zone. I look forward to continuing and furthering the integration into our greater toolbox at the MCEDC, and providing a benefit to our community. So thanks again.
All right. So
Any questions for me before?
No, go ahead.
Not at this time. Not done with the Enterprise Zone, but maybe some other questions.
Sure.
But later on, we can do that.
All right, thank you, Mark. Administrator contract?
So we've distributed a proposed contract for you to review, and basically, you know, we've taken information from the RFP and tried to effectively identify the duties of the MCEDC as the administrator. My intent was to get this in front of the board and hopefully create a meeting down the line to approve it, so you have time to review. It's a dense document, and so I wouldn't expect anybody to immediately be able to say this is perfect and encompasses everything that we need to have. So happy to answer any questions currently. Lou did point out that under the term section, I foolishly wrote that it retroactively expires, so it should read May 1st, 2024 to April 30th, 2025. So we'll make that update and update to the numbers in the term section as well, the 2.1 and 2.2. But beyond that, I think that this contract should more or less encompass the agreement. The duties section is the scope of services that the MCEDC would provide the Enterprise Zone Board. Is contained mostly on the first page in those bullet points, and then the remainder of it is just, you know, legal language to solidify the agreement.
I do have one question, Lou.
You go right ahead.
Okay. In page 3, part 6, the independent contractor talks about the administrator's sole responsibility for taxes and benefits. And I guess I need a little update on that because I know the county is involved with the benefits part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something we are sending to the MCEDC and then they're paying it? I mean, you're not paying it out of your pocket, I don't think.
So the benefits in question for whom?
You.
Yeah, so that would be something that would transfer directly to us as administrator. So the MCEDC would handle that within our own payroll, right? And which encompasses the relationship that we've established with the county.
So the benefits in the 60,000?
It would all be encompassed, right? So within that 60,000 that you pay, that's covering any any of our administrative services, which would include payroll taxes, benefits, any of the above. None of the compensation for the officers or members of the EDC, employees of the EDC, myself and James, would extend back to the enterprise budget.
Okay.
And that's different than it was in the previous agreement.
Mm-hmm. So one analogy that I've been using to help simplify how this contract looks is, kind of imagine it in a traditional contractor, independent contractor agreement. Like if you were a general contractor and you brought someone in to pour concrete, the GC wouldn't be responsible for any of their compensation to their employees, the gas, the fuel that they put in their truck to get there, or things like that. Only the GC would only be responsible for example, and we'll talk more about this in the budget, if the GC said, hey, we want to send you to this concrete pouring school, we'll pay for that, or the International Association of Concrete Pourers, right? So essentially what the enterprise zone is doing is writing a check for the administrative services, and none of the operations of MCEDC would extend back to the enterprise zone board's budget, which is different than how it was ran in the past, but this allows for a more simplistic situation. You pay the MCEDC $60,925 a year. In exchange, you get the services listed in the scope of services on page 1.
Okay. You're the administrator. The MCEDC is the entity, and it says that you're of sole responsibility as an independent contractor for taxes and benefits.
Correct.
So how do the benefits get down to you?
So they are paid by, so that's an arrangement between McHenry County and the MCEDC.
Right, that's the part that I need clarification on, I guess.
The MCEDC director and his staff are on county payroll. And I think monthly, the county is invoicing the MCEDC for those expenses. This contract is between the enterprise zone and the MCEDC.
Yes, okay. Okay, as long as it's right. Good.
Any other questions?
Has this been reviewed by attorney yet, counsel?
No.
Will it be?
That is up to the board. If you choose to have it reviewed by council, we're certainly comfortable with that. And if they say we want you to update X, Y, and Z, we're certainly comfortable with that as well.
I was part of, I am on the MCEDC board, I was part of that discussion. I think there was a level of comfort that this is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a boilerplate document that said, this is a boilerplate agreement on terms. What changes is that the attachment of services, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we really need to agree on. I mean, the legal terms are pretty straightforward. I think that's how the MCEDC board viewed it. They do have an attorney on that board who is kind of comfortable with the way this is drafted.
Yeah.
Do we have any concerns with last page, number 11.3? It says resolution to be done in a court of competent jurisdiction. Do we have a problem? Do we have any concern that it could extend outside of McHenry County? should we actually have McHenry County in there, so just in case there's something, we're not traveling all over the country? If it's not a concern, it's not a concern, just bring something up.
It's hard to imagine it being anywhere other than the 22nd Circuit, but I think if you're comfortable, Mayor Kozer, we could put in the 22nd Circuit.
Probably a good idea.
I think, I would like to have that just in case something does pop up, but
Yeah, it's a good suggestion.
other than that, I'm good.
Any other concerns? Kevin? Good. In one of our previous meetings, there was a question about liability insurance considerations.
And we did do some research into that. James, I'll let you.
Yeah, so I spoke to Sheila at NEIS Insurance Day. They have MCEDC's liability insurance. She informed me that she believes that that would also extend to our role in administering the enterprise zone. She is checking on whether it could be extended to the board as well, but said that she believed that if the municipalities each had their own liability insurance, that would likely extend to each
Right.
individual that was appointed to the board, so.
So in essence, you know, if you're here representing a municipality and there was some kind of liability, it would go back to that. If, you know, if something happens where we're at fault, right, then MCEDC's liability insurance would cover that, because, you know, this is very much in line with what our policy covers, right? You know, we're an economic development organization, this is economic development. So it's our belief that additional insurance for the board separately from the administrator is not necessary, and an additional policy within us as the administrator's policy is not necessary either.
Questions?
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. And then there was, on the same topic here, review of travel and conference attendance policies.
Yeah, and so James has got basically a travel and conference attendance policy written up. It is in alignment with GSA reimbursements as well as state and federal reimbursements for mileage, which I believe, based on my interpretation of the minutes, is what was expected. As we review the budget, you'll see that you know, when we budgeted for travel and expense, we're using GSA and federal policy there. I don't see any reason for it to extend beyond that.
And then the policy is written up essentially in accordance with what we had decided on back at the December meeting when we spent a good hour on it, so.
Can you just make sure to circulate what you've got written?
Yeah, I'll absolutely, I'll have to send this one out right now.
All right. Now, keep in mind, right now, MCEDC is operating with the enterprise zone through essentially a resolution, but we didn't actually have a contract. And we've had a lot of turmoil over the last few months with people changing in and out, that we've not been able to get the contract done, which needs to get done. But what I did notice a motion on here, or sorry, a spot to approve the contract.
Where?
No, I did not see.
Oh, I didn't suggest when I figured there was time for review necessary,
Okay.
but.
Good. So we have roughly a little over a month to review, and then come back with any other. And feel free to ask or shoot me any questions. Shoot any questions to Mark or James as well in the meantime, so we can kind of get this wrapped up. It's an open tab that needs to get resolved. All right. Everyone good moving on? So resolution to approve future meeting time changes. This is something I asked to be put on here. Our meetings have been at 10 o'clock, and it's been set that way. The problem is that every other month it lines up with, was it council or mayor's caucus? And the mayor's caucus is not necessarily in the same like location, so it causes difficulties for anybody that wants to participate in both. So I was asking if we can consider moving our time from 10 to 11, and that should allow at least some travel time, should you have to leave the mayor's caucus in order to make it here on time.
11 o'clock's just a crummy time for me,
Oh, is it?
but I'll make it work if
We
that's.
can make it 8 AM then.
Yeah, well, yeah, no.
I'll make it work if that's if that's what it takes to get the quorum and make things work here.
Well, and that'll lead into our next discussion, which is, right now we have 2 representatives per city, which means that to have a quorum, we've, again, with all the changeovers we've had, we couldn't have a meeting last week. If you didn't show up, we wouldn't have had quorum this week, and that just means everything just keeps getting pushed back. What I'd like to do is change our bylaws so that we have 3 representatives. That'll push the minimum for quorum up to, I believe, 4.
No, our minimum for quorum is 4 now.
Oh, sorry, 5. We'll push it up to 5.
Do we want to go back and finish that resolution and actually have a motion for a resolution?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
I just didn't see a draft of the resolution in here, so.
I have one on my screen, but I don't have any way to share it with you. But essentially changing to 11 o'clock, next meeting Friday, October 18th. That's what I have on my screen here.
Okay.
Third
So
Friday.
we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So that passes. So our meetings will be at 11. Sorry if it's going to cause some difficulty.
Make it work.
Now going back to 4.4. So yeah, so I'm asking everyone here to consider instead of 2 representatives, moving it up to 3. You know, typically it's been like someone from the city and then someone from local business within our communities. This will, oh, go ahead.
So we move it to 3, it changes the quorum, which makes it just as tough to get a quorum. From what I'm thinking right now, and I'm just thinking out loud. So the idea, and actually Peter had mentioned maybe an alternate. If we have an alternate, does that keep our quorum at 4, but we'd have an alternate person that could show up? And I'm not a parliamentarian, I can't hardly say it.
No, that would. That would.
So we could have an alternate voting member?
So 2 plus an alternate?
Yeah, that's just a passing thought to keep our
No.
quorum lower, so we have a better chance of meeting the quorum.
I like that better.
Good idea, Larry.
What's that?
Actually, Peter mentioned it when we were getting coffee this morning. I thought,
It
okay.
accomplishes what you want, Lou, you
Right.
know, a little more flexibility in who can show up, but it keeps the quorum at 4, which is a little easier to hit.
Like just recently with like Marengo, you changed out city administrators, but then the mayor wanted to show up, and you could be listed as the alternate and be able to show up and vote and still be able to have a quorum.
That'd be
I like that alternate better.
Okay, good.
Agreed.
I don't know what we need to do to accomplish that. We need to change the,
Pete?
I think we have to change the bylaws,
Yeah,
and then have each mayor designate an alternate.
okay.
So that
So we'll have to have it written up as well.
And to change the bylaws, it takes action of all 3 city councils,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
So-
We'll verify that.
James, Mark, could you guys have something drafted up for the next meeting that we can take back to our councils? Okay.
or they could get it to you guys before that meeting, have your councils approve it, and then
We're
when it comes
government, we're
here.
supposed to move slowly.
Yeah,
Come
we
on.
need to do so.
But we would be happy to
Okay.
email that out prior to,
Okay.
if that's acceptable.
It doesn't do, my point being, it doesn't do us any good to approve it here if the municipalities don't approve it.
Right.
That's all.
Okay. So is that a motion to move forward?
I have a question.
Sure.
If we had 2 representatives plus an alternate, then it would just be expected that one of those people would have to attend for the forum?
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially,
you just need the
So
same.
it basically gives you 3 people to choose from if 2 of them
To
don't
make
work
three to
out.
make
Yeah.
Correct.
So
And then
instead
the
of having the
alternate,
extras,
the
yeah.
alternate person could change, like, or that's like an assigned person too?
That would be an assigned person.
Oh, so they're all assigned, but it just gives you 3 options,
So
as
like,
life happens.
if Donovan was the alternate in this case and Mark was online, he would just be observing like he is right now. But if Mark wasn't here, he would be able to step in as a designate and be able to vote as well.
Got it.
And then we make our quorum. I like that better. This is a good suggestion.
Thank you. See, you got that in there, Peter. I don't know that we need a resolution, it's a discussion point.
No, it's a discussion point to at least have something drafted up so we can take it to our councils.
Yep.
So, all right. So moving on to 4.5, website upgrade proposal.
So we spoke with Karen, who is currently in, she's the contractor that we utilize for both the MCEDC website and the Enterprise Zone website. She made some routine updates. If you haven't been there recently, has a scrolling thing on the top that shows, advertises the GIS and stuff like that. She suggested doing a little bit more of an intensive update for consistency purposes, specifically because the current iteration of the website is not optimized for mobile. If you try to access it off of mobile, which also extends to iPads usually or tablets, it's really hard to navigate. So as a sort of in the process of updating the marketing, I think it would be wise to have her update it to a mobile-friendly template that makes it consistent and has some familiarity with the website. She has estimated approximately 10 to 15 hours of work for this, and she is $75 an hour, so it'll be between $7.50 and $11.25 in order to get it done.
Do we know our traffic count on this website by chance, or she could maybe get that to us, see how many visitors we're having?
Certainly.
I guess I'd ask, Mark, you've been in this for a month now or so, and James has been here for a while. What's your opinion on the value of doing that?
I think that transitioning it to a more familiar, more user experience oriented template would be wise. It's a bit challenging to navigate. Now, with this update, we've also are in the process of making updates to make it easier to access the project application form, access the BMAC and stuff like that, and that's not going to be at any significant additional cost. So I think it would be smart to make those updates, James.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the people that are doing this are not sitting at their offices when they're doing it. They're at meetings with their subcontractors and whoever else they're making these decisions with. If it's not optimized for mobile, a lot of the problems that we're going to get is if they are somewhere else and need to download any of the documentation or just even need to take a look at it. It's better than having their phone, freeze up, trying to open a format that's not intended to be opened on their phone. And just, I think the stats at this point are that about 60% of people that open any sort of document at all on the internet are doing so on their phones.
Yeah. Another thing that this does is it will put it on the same platform that MCEDC website is on, and that will make it easier for us to do updates as the administrator without having to have Karen or any contractor involved. It'll be kind of what we're used to, and neither of us are web experts.
Yeah, and I'm able to update the MCEDC website pretty easily using that program. It's built on WordPress, so those analytics that Nick was asking about will also just be available because WordPress provides those on the back end to us. So we'll get traffic numbers, and we'll have the ability to go in and make changes without having to pay for any work done, especially if it's something really small. So.
Have we used any of the advertising and promotion line item yet this year?
Not for 2025 yet.
So that'll probably be half of it there.
Correct.
I'd be okay with it.
I'd be okay with it too. I just, if we're spending money, I think it needs to be a resolution at some point, though, and it's not on our agenda as a resolution.
So can you make sure we have a resolution at the next meeting?
Do we get the traffic counts by then too, do you think, the current?
I can see what she's got. She's probably got some availability on what exists as it is now, but until the switch over, we won't be able to access those personally. So.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see if we're just gonna be throwing good money at that though.
10 visitors.
If you get 10 visitors, kind of sense us we throw a lot of money at it,
Mm-hmm.
until we start getting the advertising of the website out more maybe.
All right. So we'll look forward to this at the next meeting. All right, September meeting discussion.
So that we put on there in order to set a date for the September meeting to approve a contract, approve a budget, and these other resolutions that we talked about. So there's not one on the calendar for September, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought it would be wise to put one in there.
Our last resolution for the time change said October 18th, so
Right.
it's,
Well, we can still do, we'll have to do 10 o'clock then in September, then after October, it'll move to 11.
I think
We can set the special meeting for any time, it's a special meeting, because the.
as long as we post it, yeah.
Okay.
So, and,
We changed this one.
Yeah.
Right.
We have at the beginning of the year, we filed, you guys approved a resolution that said for monthly meetings, and one of them was in October, but it wasn't at 11 a.m. And so that's why we had that resolution changing it, because, under the Open Meetings Act, you get usually set, your special meeting session beforehand. And you'll get a similar resolution setting the next year's meetings at that October meeting, because it'll be the last one before we hit January 1st. So, you'll be seeing something similar again.
So how's,
If it's your will to see that, of course.
how's everyone for September 13th, which is a Friday?
Friday the 13th, good day.
Yes, lucky.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, so September 13th. All right, financial reporting.
What time?
Oh,
Is it 11?
11.
So at this point, we don't have updated financials from Cesian because there is no approved budget. We can tell you, what expenditures have been since May, which consists of exclusively payments to Cesian. There hasn't been any other expenses incurred for the zone in that time period. So, like I said, that once we have the budget in place, they can go back in and update that and put it in a P&L format. But up until this point, there isn't the ability to give a full financial report, short of we've spent. About, document here. $1,515 in payments to Excesion. There's a current balance of $570.01 due to Excesion for their monthly reporting. There is no charge for June or July since they didn't have a budget, but that's carried forward.
Are you familiar enough, Mark, at this point to what 2 project fees were outstanding?
Yeah, so currently we'll split this between James and I. The outstanding project fees consist of Matrix 4, Liberator, Auto Works, Harvard, Community Credit Union, Gerber Collision, and Glass. Those are all outstanding project fees from 2022. And that's a total of $8,950, right? So we need to do some collection for those, and we will start communicating with those people and collect as much as we can. On the budget, on the proposed budget that I have, I anticipate collecting. I don't anticipate collecting the full $89.50. I anticipate having to write off about $19.50 of it because I don't think Liberator Auto Works is in business anymore, and I don't anticipate collecting the Matrix 4 because we haven't had communications with them. However, Harvard Community Credit Union and Gerber Collision Group, I mean, that's $7,000 of it, so I do anticipate collecting those, and we'll do our best with what we can, and if we're unable to, based on conversations with them specifically, it is something we probably should look at giving to a collection company because it's a lot of money. And now for for current outstanding.
Yeah, for current outstanding, Greenway Storage initially sent us just the base level check of $250. We ended up voiding and shredding that on their order because they actually owe $2,000 just based on the building materials cost for their project. So that is outstanding. And then for Car Loss LLC, we received a check earlier this week, and that was just because of the small project. It's one person renovation. It's just the $250 itself. We also just on that other before from 2024 project fees are in contact with the Onion Farm. What's the name of the Garlic Escape Onion Farm.
Not Onion Farm. Garlic Escape. Garlic.
A garlic farm.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Same thing.
They look alike. Anyhow.
They don't taste like
It's Friday.
So that they have another $250 check as well, but we've been in contact with them, so that should be coming soon.
Yeah, so confidence to collect those is very high. Confidence to collect Harvard Credit Union and Gerber Collision Group is high, and then Matrix 4 Liberator Auto Works is very low.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, municipal invoicing discussion.
And so this is an area that you'll kind of have to fill me in. Both James and I are kind of unclear on when the municipalities ought to be invoiced and the process there. So we are happy to manage the invoicing and have all of the necessary access to the bank account and things like that. But in terms of where that lands, I think that'll be something where you kind of have to define that for us.
So
After the fiscal year for us, are you guys?
I was thinking June, because
Yeah,
May is
so
when we get our, end of May
takes
is
a
when we
little time.
typically get our tax check, our property taxes, so we know for sure that the bank account's flush come June. And then I thought the next one could be either December or January, because we pay it roughly every 6 months.
last year, I know, we initially, I think we sent out the invoices like right after we took over, we had payment in the first week of December, so.
Yeah.
If we wanna just keep that as the schedule, the first week of December or whenever, just at the start of June. Do that.
That'll work.
Okay. So we should be issuing one now for, just as a late invoice from June. Okay. And historically,
Oh, wait a minute, you good with that as
Yeah,
well?
yeah,
We're good?
I guess it went through my mind as to, how's it fit into your budget, your pay scale? But if you guys can make it work on your end, it's
well,
fine.
in the proposed agreement, it doesn't matter, right? From a cash flow perspective, it matters to the enterprise zone board exclusively. Because like if you look at the proposed budget, the partner contributions is the municipal invoices, right? So that's all on the enterprise zone side, and then we can make another determination about when MCEDC should invoice the enterprise zone for our contractual services.
Great.
So, we'll want to be very collaborative on cash flow for the enterprise zone and make sure that everything is lining up effectively. But it doesn't matter too much to the EDC when it's invoiced, because that money, the partner contributions from municipalities will go directly into the enterprise zone's bank account and then be paid out of that towards whatever expenses are necessary at whatever time.
Okay, good.
Good? All right. Administrator's report.
All right, so,
Did we get a budget review?
yeah.
Because we were in financial reporting and talking
Yeah.
municipal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right.
Because that's the part where I did most of my homework. So I presented a proposed fiscal budget, kind of same deal as the contract. We're a little late on it considering we're beyond the beginning of fiscal year 2025 at this point. So once we can get an approved budget in there, that's really when we can function most effectively, because we can make the decisions that have been talked about, such as eliminating Excesion from doing the books and things to that effect. So what I presented here is what I feel is a conservative version of the budget. Now, from a comparison basis, it will look drastically different because, as mentioned before, this is the model where you're paying via contractual services $60,925 to us as an administrator, and we're taking in all of the day-to-day management costs of it, with the exception of a proportion of it of advertising and promotion. Now, we certainly will, at MCEDC, will, as the administrator, will certainly incur some advertising and promotion costs because it's part of our responsibility. But that's something that if the board wants to have say in what kind of advertising goes on, then it should be on the board's budget as well. So kind of going down the line, items, partner contributions, $56,000. That's no change from any prior years. Project fees I've estimated at $12,250. So $12,000 of that would be new project fees developed from this day forward for the remainder of fiscal year 2025. $2,250, as James mentioned, is guaranteed. You will not see any of the $89.50, no matter what amount we collect in accounts receivable, because that'll be booked to the prior fiscal year. So from a cash flow perspective for the enterprise zone board, it's very important that we collect that, but it won't, budgetarily and from your profit and loss statement that you'll see going forward, you won't see that as a benefit. However, you do see the bad debt if we write any of that off, if the board chooses to write any of that off. So for contractual services, I think we've discussed that, and the scope of services is listed on the contract. Accounting wise, that will take care of Excesion effectively to date, right? And so the intent is to bring the accounting in-house with MCEDC as a cost-saving measure, because we're halfway through the year, and so it's about $5,000 a year to have the third party do it. So we have an in-house bookkeeper. It's not that complex. We certainly think that we can manage the process to that end. Again, I wanted to make a little space to write off to those outstanding project fees if we're not able to collect them. Dues and subscription is the Illinois Enterprise Zone Association membership. Advertising and promotion, $2,500. Associated Bank does levy a couple bucks in fees, probably for having an account, lower than $50 million. The insurance expense portion, like we talked about, I think that can go away from the Enterprise Zone Board's budget, right? I think that can be removed. I don't think that you have any necessity to pay for insurance policy, for the board itself, right? Mileage reimbursement, everything below this is intended to cover a trip for one person from the administrator to go to the Illinois Enterprise Zone Association conference in Edwardsville that occurs on October 3rd and 4th or something like that, right? And like I said in the prior conversation, these are all based off of GSA rates or what the federal reimbursement rate is for mileage. Computer equipment, things like that. Again, that's something that'll transfer the administrative budget. And then in-zone business events, that was something I looked at as let's share the, let's share the weight a little bit. Board and administrator collaborate on, contributing to an in-zone educational event within fiscal year 2025. Whether we can do a lunch and learn where we get multiple municipalities, business owners, or whatever together and say this is what an enterprise zone is, and so on and so forth, or something. But I wanted to leave a little bit of space for that in the budget. So projecting a net loss based off of this budget, again, from a cash flow perspective, we will attempt to collect the outstanding fees. So cash flow wise, it should be okay, but based on what I anticipate in expense and income for this year, I do see a net loss.
We'll move on to administrator's report then.
Yeah. All right, on 6.1 is a status update on the unemployment fraud issue that we brought up back in April. We haven't gotten any information back from IDES. I've checked in, and apparently this is kind of par for them. Is still sometimes even, we sent a protest letter. Occasionally they will receive those letters and just, strike the, the balance that we're trying to build without communicating that very well. So I'm still trying to get in contact with my point of contact that filled me in on this process at the start. We're going to keep doing that until we actually get an update from them. I've talked to multiple MCEDC board members who have had this happen in their businesses in the past, and they said that usually sending the letter of protest is sufficient, and these things tend to go away, but they go away on state government time. So who knows how long it'll be before we get any sort of notice on that, but we do not plan on paying any of those any of the fees that they're trying to charge us for that. For 6.2 is the current project update. It has been a slow summer. That is actually not out of the ordinary for the enterprise zone, but we do have 3 projects that are ongoing. One of them is Car Lots in downtown Woodstock. They've already paid their $250 fee. They purchased the building right next door to them. The owner is renovating this new building just by himself and subsuming it into his current business. And that's going to double their operational capacity. I don't have any other specific figures from him, but I do have a couple conversations planned with him just to get more information so that we can, increase the amount of stats that we have on what we're getting from these projects. And then there's Greenway Storage, which is in Harvard. They have a $2,000 outstanding enterprise zone fee. It is a storage facility that is under construction. They recently started, I want to say probably about 3.5 weeks ago. He made it a big point that he hired a local contractor to do their concrete work, which is the majority of what that facility is, since it's just a storage facility. So he's actually been really good with, getting us information. I just need him to get really good with getting us that check as well.
I just spoke to him out in the hallway. He's going to send it this weekend.
Oh, okay.
But he's taking away our sponsorship check. That's what he said. He's joking.
Oh, man, he's a smart guy. And we are also keeping track of, when everybody sends in their project applications, we've got everybody's estimates. We have a project closing document that, we brought forth back in April to that meeting. And everybody will be filling those out as well, so that, our analytics can, we can actually track what our actuals are as opposed to just what their project estimates were. And then the final one is the design coach. I've been in contact with them. They are having an issue, and this is just for the board to know, is that they're having an issue with reporting what their actuals were to the state of Illinois. The state website is rejecting their FEIN number, but it didn't reject it on our side of the Department of Revenue website, where we get their their sales tax exemption certificates for their subcontractors. So the only thing it could really be is either if their number was reported incorrectly, which we are going to check on, but we are currently waiting for them to finish maintenance on the website, and that brings the other possibility is that this is an IT issue with the Department of Revenue, which is what we were hoping. So this is something we're trying to resolve for them. It does give us the ability to, take steps that we've taken and the issues we've taken in, for the handbook that we're trying to craft for situationals. We'll have firsthand experience with what to do in this situation as well, so we will be included in that as well. Any questions on either of those?
No questions, but Melinda was very thankful for your help, so I really appreciate that.
Great.
All right.
And just one last note on current projects. We are both happy to attend business owner meetings. If you want to have, if you're having a lunch and learn talking about incentives at your municipality or opportunities, we have a presentation ready. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're going to be doing outreach on our side to promote the zone, but our best partner in that is the individual municipality. So when you have someone who you think could benefit from it or a property, give us a call and we will do our best to show up.
One other thing though, I want to bring up before someone makes a quick motion to adjourn is with Garrett gone, we're going to have to do another vote who the vice chair will be. So if we can put that either September or October, will everything be set with Woodstock by September?
Yeah, our new executive director of the department will start August 21st.
Okay.
So by then, I'm sure she will be appointed to serve.
I'm reasonably sure that'll happen.
Possibly not vice president or vice chair, just because, I don't know how that works, like if you would want somebody who's new or.
So right now, it's a vacancy, and then
Okay.
we'll have to
Have a group
take
discussion.
nominations and vote.
Okay, yeah.
So this way, that's all done, and, because right now we only have 2 officers,
Okay.
so,
Yep.
all right.
Absolutely ready to go.
Look forward to meeting her as well.
Her name is Jessica Erickson. She's moving here from Colorado.
what part?
Yep. Let me think. What was the name of the town? I wanted to say Commerce City, but that's where Garrett went.
It's like an exchange program.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Longmont.
They took one of ours, we'll take one.
Longmont.
Why?
Longmont's
Why would you come to
lives
Illinois
right
from
down the
Colorado?
way.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
Longmont.
it's a
Yeah, I
really
know where
touristy
Longmont is.
kind of area.
I used to
Yep.
live in Broomfield for a while.
And, okay. Yeah, she, I think she has family in the Midwest, so she saw this as an opportunity to move closer to family. I don't think she has family in McHenry County per se, but it's much closer than Colorado.
Yeah, right. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting her. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right. We're adjourned.